So in the first stanza, Jeev Patel speaks, it takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of knife. The root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It has anchored to the earth, it has to be removed. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. The poet sarcastically and vividly picturizes the process of killing a tree, and finally it is done. What is done? We have successfully destroyed a tree. It is no matter to be proud of. Hello students, I am Anil, Assistant Professor of English, Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In this session, we are going to look at a poem titled On Killing a Tree by Jeev Patel for the students of BCom first semester. On Killing a Tree, the poem goes like this by Jeev Patel. Jeev Patel is an environmentalist and a poet. He wrote many poems on nature, how human beings are offending nature. This is one such poem, how people kill a tree, and by vividly describing how we destroy a tree, he talks about the human nature which destroys the environment. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air and water, and out of it leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So in the first stanza, Jeev Patel speaks, it takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of knife. It takes much time to kill a tree. He says that it takes much time to kill a tree. He is sarcastically telling, but we human beings have successfully destroyed many forests without much time. Not a simple jab of knife. So killing a tree is not a simple jab of knife. If you just jab a knife to the tree, it won't die. And what does it require to kill a tree? A jab of knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth. A tree, when it grows from a plant to become a tree, slowly consuming the earth, it takes all the necessary things from earth, raising upon its crust. So on earth's crust, it has grown. It has slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight. Years of sunlight, it has absorbed many things, air and water, and out of its leprous hide, it gives sprouting leaves. So this is how a tree slowly grows on earth. In the first stanza, he talks about how a plant becomes a tree and what are the things necessary for it to become a tree. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do. Not much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, when if unchecked will expand again to former size. In the second stanza, he talks about what happens if you just chop the barks off the trees and what it becomes. It comes to the former size. He says, so hack and chop, if you simply just cut the boughs, if you simply cut these boughs and trim it, and trim the trees, what happens? Not so much pain will do it. It will heal again. The tree grows again. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. If you cut through the stem also, it will slowly sprout. It becomes miniature boughs will grow from there, and when if unchecked will expand again to former size. If you let it without checking upon it, then what happens? The tree will again grow to its former size. This is what he says. In the first stanza, he talks about how tree grows, how a plant becomes a tree, consuming years of sunlight, water, air around it, and becomes a wonderful tree. And in the second stanza, he talks about if you just cut the branches or stem, if you don't check it again, then it becomes a tree, full-fledged tree again. So now he says, what should be done in order to kill a tree? Now, the root is to be pulled out. We have to remove the root out of the anchoring earth. He says, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It has anchored to the earth, it has to be removed. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. Now he says how we remove a tree completely, how we detach it from the earth, how we remove it completely from the earth. It has to be tied and pulled out, snapped out, broken, and pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree expose the source. Now, where do you find that strength of the tree? In its roots. And the strength of the tree exposed the source, white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. He is talking about the deeply spread out roots. When you remove all those things, now you will see fresh roots. They are still white and wet, the most sensitive, but strong, hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. In the final part, he says, then when you expose the deeply anchored roots, those strong roots, when they are unearthed, removed from earth, then the matter of scorching. Now it has to be dried out. You don't want it to remain wet. If you let them wet, what happens? It again somewhere finds its way to the earth and then grows to a new tree. Then the matter of scorching and choking. Then we have to dry it, cut it into pieces, then dry it in the sun. Browning, hardening, twisting. Now we will remove everything. Then we will burn it. Finally, withering, and then it is done. We will turn it into dust and powder and finally into ashes. Then it is done. Then we have successfully killed a tree. But is it a question to be proud of? Killing a tree is not a question to be proud of our task. Therefore, the poet sarcastically and vividly picturizes the process of killing a tree, and finally it is done. What is done? We have successfully destroyed a tree. It is no matter to be proud of. Like this, G.U. Patel has wonderfully picturized the process of cutting down a tree. In the first stanza, he says, how does a plant become tree? It consumes all the necessary things from the earth, light, water, air, and then it becomes a beautiful tree. A simple jab, if you just poke the tree with knife, it won't die. But what should be done? He explains in the next stanza. In the next stanza, he says, if you just cut the branches, the stem, and leave it unchecked, it will again come back to the former size. Therefore, he says it is not that simple. He says we have to cut all the branches, then we have to dig deep into the earth. We have to remove its roots. We have to unearth, expose its wide and wet, soft roots, but still strong, which has the capacity to regrow the tree. And finally, it's job done when we bring everything out of the earth, dry it, cut it into pieces, burn it, and turn it into powder form or ash form. Finally, we have successfully destroyed the tree. With this, we shall meet in the next class. Thank you.